right. Ezra, how has it been balancing work and family? Now that you mentioned that, after five, there's the place of building community, building family. I know your son should be one or something right now. How has it been ensuring that as much as you don't win in the marketplace and don't lose at home?
Okay. That's a very interesting one. Yeah, interesting one in the sense that there is the purpose that you're pursuing, and it boils down to why are you doing what you're doing? And actually, the family is the primary motivation.
Okay.
You would meet a father doing some manual jobs, and if you randomly ask why they are doing, there is a possibility the answer they'll give you is, my son is in school, he needs school fees, my family need food. So basically, what pushes some of these people out here to kujituma is their dependence
Okay.
and the kind of family they want to build. Yeah, so basically, they come first because they are your motivation factor. Yes.
Okay.
I don't want to go too much into that.
I also don't even ask. So probably those guys that don't have families, you know why you're not pushing yourself a lot. Okay. Me included. All right. While you're doing this transition from one space to the other, there's something about value proposition, your pricing, your positioning. Let me ask, how do you know when it's your time to move from point A to point B?
Ebenezer, I would say, while I was getting the first, like anytime I go I get employment, they have been the ones they are calling permanent and pensionable, just with probation of maybe 6 months. And of course, their motivation is you want to be there permanently.
Okay.
Yes. And I don't go there planning to leave the next day. And if you met me with my first employer, I would not tell you in a few years I will be where I am today. So what happens is you live there, you do your best, you deliver what you're expected to deliver, you build yourself. And if an opportunity that needs someone who has built himself up and who is available and able to deliver comes up, go for it. Though I would say the career paths are not straightforward with some formula. You add 1 + 1, you get 2. There is someone who would just be a fresh graduate and they get the highest kind of job you will want to imagine. There are those who would have to build from scratch, go slow by slow, and eventually reach where they would want to go. We know several people who just out of campus, unasikia ni PS in some kind of place. Unasikia there. Just, it's not a straight line. But if opportunities that speaks to your vision and your purpose and speaks to your to what you want to achieve comes up, grab it. There is this point of people say pastures are greener where you water
them.
But I tend to disagree in a manner because if I must be there, then the grass should be greenest where I am. And you can never make grass green by just watering if the ground is infertile.
Okay.
So it's and I'm not to say that you'll only be moving because the ground is infertile or such kind of thing. But if opportunities that speaks to your purpose comes up along the way, it's good to be loyal, but then be loyal to yourself first. Even the Bible says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So love yourself first, and don't fear don't usikwe the huruma. So what will my boss do if I leave? I was given this one. Nobody else has been trained to do this. You will go and life will go on. Nothing happened.
Well, when you die, the advert is already out there. So
So
please just move through that radar.
Yeah, if it speaks to your purpose and what you want to achieve, keep moving.
Okay. As you're moving, the conversation about money and salary, there are people that are timid of talking about money, and I was among those people. But right now, I ask for money first. Not that I'm greedy, But I have realized, and maybe you speak to this, and that in the corporate space, you don't get what you deserve, but what you negotiate for. How have you approached negotiations when you're moving from an intern to an associate to consultant and then a manager in the as task space? What when you being called for an interview, when you're thinking about salary, what are the things you're looking at? You're like, these are my cards, the poker cards. You're like, hii nitatoa hivi, nitoe hivi, hivo hivo.
Okay. There are two things I would say
Okay.
in that aspect. One, we are living in a very interesting era of technology, and information is available at just a click of a button. You have the information. So anytime you interviewing for a position, most of the time there was someone there, and even if it was not a public information what they were earning, at least you have a picture of what was the salary range for such level of experience and work you're going to do. Secondly, how you also grow with your employer matters a lot, because anytime you're moving out, there's a question they'll ask you: how much is your current? How much do you earn currently?
Your current salary.
Yes, and how much would you want to be paid
Yeah.
here? And of course, I would say it's better to overprice yourself than underprice yourself. Now, why do I say that? Of course, you'll have told them what you currently worth or what you're being paid. It may not be what you are worth, but it's what you're being paid currently.
Yeah.
So you've told them what you're being paid currently, and then you've told them what you would expect to be paid. I would say something a bit higher than what you researched. Because eventually, they will sit down and even if they look at you as someone who is a bit beyond their budget, they will look at what you're earning currently, and they will have a conversation with you asking you, what if we give you this? But that will come after they have made their mind that you are the person. So if you underprice, they will not have that conversation with you. But if you overprice, then they settle on you, then they'll have that conversation with you. They'll give you maybe a proposal of this is what we intend to pay you for the work you're going to be doing. Then you now have that back and forth here and there, some small bargain. But eventually, if it speaks to your needs, your purpose, and what you want to achieve, and you think you're doing it well, then you'll strike a deal there. Yeah, I'm trying to make it very conventional because people will come and say you give some background, some proverb before even make it so straightforward.
Sure. Like when you're approaching that, just be candid, be straight, but then have done your assignment.
Yeah. Okay. Make sure you know a lot about. Actually, LinkedIn, for your information, as long as people are using it to get opportunities by virtue of seeing what is being advertised and what they can apply for, it's more important when you're preparing for interviews. You will know who the boss in that place is. Go read their CV. Know what they have been doing, what they like, and when you're being interviewed, there is some kind of. I know you're a psychologist. Anytime someone can identify with you, there is some bias that will come. It's not a negative bias. It will just come by identifying with you. So you notice one of the potential, you don't know the panel, yes, but the potential panelists went to a school that maybe was your dream school in high school. Make a way such that when they'll be asking you about your life, talk something that will show you had a dream school that is there. It's so natural. You didn't tell them, I know you went there, but you're trying to create that connection.
So what I'm hearing say, even in the interview room, make it a story. It's like a
conversational.
And someone said, how do you know when you have aced that interview? Someone said, okay, that is their metrics. If you have made a number of the panelists smile, okay, they might be smiling at your foolishness. But what has been your telltale thing? Or when you're looking back in hindsight, you're like, I made that one impressed. What makes you feel like, I have the odds for this job after you're walking out of the interview?
There are questions you are asked, and they don't want the answer.
Okay.
They just want to see your approach of things.
An example?
They'll tell you, give us a situation where you applied a specific skill, maybe a soft skill, where you applied your critical thinking. Now, in such a case, you don't go and just say you were given assignment by a certain boss. You noted the instructions were not correct. You use your critical thinking. So you make it conversational. So they ask you that, and you would give, for instance, they have asked you where you applied critical thinking. So get that selling achievement that you have achieved, especially when they're hiring experienced, when it's an experienced hiring. So of course, with your previous employments, there is something you are so proud that you achieved. So anytime they ask for critical thinking skill, pick that one, the one you performed so well in, and it could be even a publicly known thing. So maybe, for instance, for lawyers, you would say that case that is publicly known, and you're part of the team that
crafted the whole investigation.
Yes. So you would bring a situation inside there that people can easily see the trail of your contribution there in the final product that came out. So, for instance, we almost lost this client. But then, after I went here and saw this, I came with this idea and we retained him. And eventually, this case became a landmark case that everybody's talking about. So people will see, if it were not for his intervention at that aspect, then we'll not be having this. The final thing we're having now. Let them see that even if he comes here and we eventually get in a situation that almost looks like this, he'll be critical enough to turn things around.
I think what you're saying is what we call the CAR technique. Circumstance, action, results. So what was the circumstance? What action did you take? And then the results. And then, as you're saying, selling the results and your role. But then I feel like this should be premeditated. Like, you should be expecting such scenarios so that you don't make up the story.
Exactly. Actually, never make up a story in an interview. You know, you're being interviewed by brilliant minds. You don't think you're the brightest in that room.
Actually, you may be the dumbest. Okay.
Yeah. So these are people who you can easily be unasema nguruwe ujikanga na mafuta yake. You come up with a story, they pick the loopholes, they wait for you towards the end. We mwenye ujigundue, kumbe what I said here is what is tying me down here. So let them be authentic and genuine. You remind me. Actually, and these small things we do, they're very important. There is a time I was told where I applied conflict resolution skills in my life. And I remembered a scenario in campus when I served as an interim Christian Union chair. And kulikuwa na you're using a hall where football was being watched. So time went beyond what we had anticipated. So football is about to begin na hatujamaliza service and I'm the chairman.
The Friday fellowships.
It was a Friday fellowship.
Yes.
Being in a hall. I think you remember that situation. And I gave that explanation and they're like, oh. So eventually, finally, the people who were outside were happy and the people you were leading were equally happy and harmony was restored. You get? So the small things, don't despise them. At your head girl somewhere and something happened. Those small stories, let them be genuine, real, but then let it bring out your role clearly.
And at times, there's a time I have been asked in an interview, what is your greatest achievement? And as you say, there are these small things. So I was interviewing for a role in an institution to be a trainer, diploma, and certificate. So honestly, in all my career, I had only one achievement. It was around integrity. So I told them, when I used to work at the airport, it was during COVID times, and there is this aircraft that had come. They wanted to bribe their way to South Sudan because they didn't have their COVID certificate stamped, and I stood my ground and said no. And the entire aircraft had to disembark and go the other day. That was my authentic, genuine achievement in my whole career. And they picked that, and I got the job. So at times people want to make up fancy stories, and unaenda ukijikaanga kwa mafuta yako, unaanza kusema, oh, there's this time our software was not working, so I took up ChatGPT, and then alafu unajikaanga at the end point, that car principle doesn't come out, circumstance, action, and then the results is not really coming out so good. Yeah. Good. Really interesting. Of course, you have said, well, you're negotiating your worth and everything. In your role now in the tax space, this is a bit technical. You've managed audits, advised on transactions, and handled compliance across sectors. What are these? Someone that desires to be in your space, maybe they are budding guys who are in a corner start and all that. What is these unique skills that someone should bring to this space of tax and all that compliance and even serving clients, because I am one of your clients? What are these things so that you don't blow up? Because the tax space in Kenya can be a little bit very
Okay. Going to career is interesting. I'll look at it like the way we have road network in Kenya. You have 104, the one going to Nakuru. Yes. At some point, you want to branch to Bomet. Yes. At some point, you want to branch to your village. And that's what I would say career is. At your initial stages, preferably, you be so broad and open-minded.
Okay.
And open-minded, I mean, tax is so wide. For example, we have international taxation, we have indirect taxation, we have direct taxation, and so forth and so forth. At your initial stages, you may not go at you want to specialize so much in indirect taxation, you want to specialize so much on something else. You'd immerse yourself in everything taxation. Now, while at it then, there is that assignment that when you're given, you deliver results effortlessly, and they are well articulated and properly done. That you're also proud of what you do. Even without being told by your boss that you've done well, you also know, with this, I did it well. Then with that now, it will shape where you'll be headed towards specialization. So there is these assignments I usually do, and they come out so well. Despite having these other skills, there is this that I crack it so well. So you now move towards there and get whatever certification is needed to excel in that specific branch you're going. Inside there as well, it's still branched, and you'll find what you want. And eventually, you will hear someone is a specialist, and they'll be mentioning, when they want to talk of VAT, when accountants are sitting in a place and they're talking about value-added tax, the only name that comes into their minds is your name. So I had this very wonderful, allow me say colleague, though he's so senior. Anytime ISPAC wants to train people on VAT and indirect tax, they don't even think of any other person. He's the go-to guy, because he knows the why behind every section of Value-Added Tax Act. So, any other professional and quacks, they will tell you the law says, and the law is clear. But a professional who understands his craft will not only tell you the law is clear, he will even question why that law was set.
Okay.
And after questioning why it was set, any moment he's advising a client or he's doing something related to that aspect of taxation, he knows deeper aspects of it. And even if asked for his opinion, how he thinks it would be better done, he will give an opinion. Every other professional in the field will tell you what the law says. But the person who has specialized and knows his craft will not only tell you what it says, he will tell you why it says so and how it can be improved to address current circumstances and the many aspects of it. So what I would say is, know the why behind everything you're doing. And there is also something that has helped me so much, especially when you're growing into supervisory roles as you progress. Sometimes the person you're supervising asks you a question and you generally don't know the answer, you don't know how to maneuver it. And you may refer them to someone who is more experienced or somebody else, or you may go do your own research and come back and give whatever is needed. But then, what has been of great help to me is anytime I refer someone to someone else for specialized feedback, I would follow up with this person I was referring, asking them what the new approach is after getting the advice. You get? So in this case, you're building this person who is giving you feedback of what they learned new, and yet you're also building yourself that where you had a gap, you could not help, and this person has been helped, he's transferring that knowledge to you. Next time someone else comes to you with the same question, you'll not need to refer them to the other senior person. And in that case, you'll be building your path. And it will be clear that even in the absence of this senior person, he can do it well because you learned through the process. And never think you know it all. Anytime you think you know it all, then you don't know. Sure. There is someone better than you. Any day, anytime. Even if you go look for the biggest CEO you want to think of, there is someone better than him. Yes.
So it looks like it looks like the funnel, the one you use in sales, but also even in career, you're starting off broader, narrowing down.
Yes.
But then even the more you behold the narrowest, the more you want to learn, and even just doing it and even interrogating why do we do it that way and all that. Do you have mentors?
All right. All right. My case is quite different.
Okay.
I am more in role models than mentors.
Okay.
I'm a kind of person who believes that we have very unique paths. And so I would be more into role models. That's my way of looking doing it. Now, as I mentioned, I had Kibaki as my role model. Thereafter, there is another guy. I may not mention his name, but he's my role model presently. Now, this guy, we have a lot of similarities. I normally tell myself, if he could do it with the same circumstances that I am in now, why not me? Now, he went to a national school. It may not be the same school I went to. He worked in one of the big 4 firms, even worked with where I'm currently working at some point, and is now a CEO of one of the biggest companies. So, of course, I'll picture myself in his path. And any memoir that he writes, I'll be the first to read. Any news that talks about him, anytime I open social media and I see some either negative or positive news about him, I'm so quick to open it. The reason being, these are the loopholes that my role model, he could be making some mistakes in that aspect, or he could be hitting it there, and I'm noting them down and telling myself, when I will be at that level, this is exactly what I will be doing. Or this is what I will not do, so that I be better than even the role model. So you can even be better than the role model if you desire to. I may not have achieved it now, but I know eventually I'm building and I'm in that path. Now, talking about mentors, I don't want to also water it down so much. My biggest mentor is my dad.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell me one thing you picked from your dad that
my
drives
dad
your career
is
success.
so practical.
All right.
This is not. My dad is not someone who will tell you some stories of how things are done. He will give you what he did when he was in your circumstance, and then tell you, if your circumstance is the same as mine,
Just do this.
Yes. But if it's not the same, figure it out. You're creative. You're not as long as I'm guiding you here and there, you're not a photocopy of me. Picture your life. You remember I said there is a time I wanted to be a bishop? My dad is a pastor. So I think at that point, I was like, this is the person I would want to be like. And yeah. But then having that aspect of wanting to go your way is also important. And to parents, holding your children's hand is very crucial. Any moment, anytime. Let your child come to you anytime they feel they need to talk to someone. Like, it's where you're going outside here and you're hearing stories about your child you don't know yourself as a parent. When they face difficulties, let them come to you first. When I want to maybe achieve some milestones in life, the first person I go to is dad. Tell him this and this is happening, whether clean or dirty things. This and this is happening. Of course, I'll be scolded here and there.
Yeah.
When I'm not
a few
doing right.
grounding here.
Yes, where here and there, appreciated here and there, but then they have come a long way in building
Your
me.
support.
Yes.
So role modeling, success, being able to leave footprints that you can look at others that have done, and you're like, if I do the same things and avoid the mistakes, but even people close to us can be able to we can pick so many lessons.
Yeah.
I think one of the lessons that I picked from my mom, and if you visit my home one day, is my mom is hardworking. Probably that's why I put myself out there. My mom, like literally, you'll be begging her to rest because she's out there 6 a.m. anakamua ng'ombe.
And another advantage of having very close people as mentors, you'll never wear a mask. So siwezi enda ati kwa dad and I'm pretending to be this very successful person in the he knows me like
so what is
out.
success?
He knows me inside out. So siwezi mwambia ati you look at I can't there is no I'm not bringing a shadow of me. He knows the me. All my flaws, all my strengths, all my weaknesses, and he will easily mentor me.
Yeah, I think that's
vulnerability.
Finding a space where you can be vulnerable, because we are living in a times where you just have to come up in a suit and show up. But I think there's a time I was home the other day and we were just driving with my dad and we were just talking about practical things, as you said. He's telling you, hey babe, hapa, you know, it's better because it's around marriage a lot. So he's telling you, you know, hapa najua hivi na hivi, like that practical, and I'm like, this is the highest of advice, because you're getting it from someone who wishes you well, someone who really loves you, someone who's not just doesn't want your money per se, but they're like, you are like a replica of who I am. So I would really wish the best from you. So because
even you'll forgive me for saying this. There is a time we had a conversation in some informal setup, and I was asking you, why pay a marriage counselor, yet you have your family, your father and mother who have lived 30 years. And they have maneuvered. So they would be easier to go to. Forgive me for
no, totally.
you know, these are people available. Baba yako atakwambia to pay me so that I give you this kind of advice. They'll be the first go to people, especially if their marriage is doing well. Why go look for theory when you have the practical?
I hear you. And maybe next time I should be hosting my dad here to tell us, because I totally agree. Because we are living in a time where we have following celebrities, and then we say marriage does not work. Yet our fathers have been living for like 30. I know my dad right now should be around 30-something years in marriage.
Yeah,
it's exactly working. So probably I will create a platform for him when he's visiting Nairobi, and I'm like, Mzae ka hapo. Tuambie, how has it been dealing with Mama Ebe all this time? Are there days you don't talk?
And they'll tell you they are there. You know, the picture they show you and what happens. And too different.
This looks like a digression, but I think families are really under attack. Today I was woken up by a neighbor who had a domestic fight, and the kids were crying, and I'm like, this is the beginning of trauma to these babies. No. And I'm like...
And actually, it's not even digression. You cannot make it in the career world if your family... and things around you have issues. You know, they trickle down. Have you never heard of some woman came and they were with the HR anamuita? No, even if he's doing so well with his career and these other things are not doing well, when a time comes they want to get a CEO and the board is discussing, that thing will come up.
They go dig.
Yeah, it will come up and like, oh, this person, what if his family issues eventually affect our brand? You get? So as long as you're building this one, these other things are also very important. Take care of them. Don't ignore others. You should take care of others.
Just holistic branding. Because your personal brand precedes your career brand.
Yeah, sure.
I know there's a time the late President Mwai Kibaki had to come up and say, I only have one wife, and it is this one here. Because sometimes wase wanachoma huku nje. Like now it's the time when we need to give you that corner office in the boardroom. But hey bana, kuna dem fulani ako sijui wapi anasema, niko na mtoi wake huko Kawangware. And manze inachoma.
Exactly.
Inachoma sana. So really good. Do you get to burnout? May has been the mental health month, and I know at times higher achievers either don't know what burnout is or they underscore burnout and everything.
Burnout. I'm actually sighing because I've had several times. There are these times you must deliver. And especially working in the tax landscape where there are a lot of statutory timelines and you're dealing with clients. Some of them bring documentation and everything very late and all eyes are on you to deliver good and good stuff. Now, most of the time, you're not alone. Okay, for my case, I'm not alone. I'm working with people. And anytime you think there is something new you are coming up with, don't be selfish to share that kind of knowledge. You saw a case law somewhere that will help your case and you're discussing and trying to make it right. Make sure one or the whole team knows you want to refer to this case law in backing up whatever thing you want to say, so that if one day you feel like you really can't do, take leave and work will still continue. Yeah, like, don't kill yourself. You see, we need you to have that thing done. So if you kill you, who will do it? So anytime you feel like you've done it, like imefika mwisho, you can't push it further, take leave. Leave is provided for, it's even in the law, Employment Act. Relax, go meet family, go do your farming if you have a farm. Usijiue. Yeah, sure.
So just ensure you're having this well-balanced life so that you don't give out too much until you're not able to. Because at times, success can be a lousy teacher. It can tell you, keep going.
Yeah.
And then the more you go, the more you're drained, the more you can't give back, the more you become grumpy, and all that.
And trust even your subordinates where you're working. Like, say that if I'm not present, I know things still go on. The only thing that is needed is my vision. In where I'm now the top leadership is the vision, but execution it can be done in my absence. Yeah, exactly. So don't take everything for yourself. Mentor others. They can even grow bigger than you. Let them grow. Don't create a box for the people you are leading where you're leading. Let them grow. Yeah.
How many guys are you mentoring right now? Intentionally mentoring in the tax space?
I would say 2. But then there are those I know I'm mentoring without having communicated to them and telling them specifically what's happening. But the ones we've at least done some kind of structural kind of way we meet, we discuss this and this, and I tell them how sometimes you maneuver here and there. Yes, there are 2. But the rest, anyway, I work in, I'm so very intentional to ensure that whoever we are working with, they understand what is happening. You don't just give them a piece of what they should do. Let them see the whole picture of what the final result, and then let them put their A game there. And where you need to guide, you guide here and there. Sure.
Because at times, those that have gone ahead feel like it's competitive. Like they feel like these young guys are coming to compete them. And so they don't want to fanya unless, and then they just know if you do this. Someone feels like I am giving you too much if I am mentoring you. If I'm showing you the ways to taxation, the ways to rise, then I'm taking in a lot. What does that feel?
The feeling of giving too much? Or
no, what would you say to these colleagues that are senior and they feel threatened by the growth of these young staff? So they don't mentor them, they don't give them information and stuff.
As I said, people and the career space out here is, people are very bright and they see the small things. And let me tell you, when they are deliberating on who to be given leadership positions and to guide and to, they even see those things. You know, the things you're like, you want to, if you're not the topmost, at least there's someone you're reporting to. You know, the small things you're like, you don't want to mentor other people to come up. You don't want to give others opportunity. You're doing it to yourself. You want to take all the credit. It's noticeable. They see, it's visible. So the best is let people grow with you. And when people grow with you, even your department, the department you're leading, performs so well. Because if one is not there, the other is there, and you're working in synergy. And you just have to show how best you can mentor others. Because specifically, leadership positions in the career world comes to those people who can work with people. Your people skills are the ones that will sell you in leadership positions. Of course, your technical skills will sell you here and there, but your people skills better. good leaders will even take credits of those they are leading, not in a very aggressive way, but in a manner that it's not even like they're taking those credits. You know, I go there, present something we did as a team, and here and there, I'm trying to also show the top management that there is this guy who did this and it cracked here. So as long as I'm presenting it and taking the credit, I'm also presenting the team I'm leading that they are seen to be working for opportunities that come up. There is in fact, the one you're leading can even come up and they take a department that is performing so well. They even end up being ahead of you. You know, the career world, unless you want to be a personal entrepreneur, then you can always want to be the one with everything and doing everything. But as long as you're working for people, they will be looking for the one who provides the value they need, and they can come and be ahead of you. Don't feel threatened. Just keep building. Build your own.
Yeah, that it doesn't pain when you're able to just water another person's plant. Yeah. And even in the entrepreneurship space, the space I am in, the counselors that thrive, the businesses that thrive are those businesses that are like, I can show someone who can do this. Like, let's say if you're looking for a marriage counselor, for instance, I can mention you to my professors and then by so doing, we are building a relationship that will go beyond, because there are doors that have opened because I mentioned my lecturer somewhere, and then in return, they were looking for someone to talk to teens, and it's like, Ebenezer, I know this is your area, so I think it doesn't bite, and I think it's scarcity mindset that then we think if I make someone better, then I would, like, someone has to lose for me to win. It's
no.
necessarily that.
See, you can all win.
Yeah. The space is so big.
Yeah, and also, just as a disclaimer, we don't also forget the fact that there are office politics and those are the things that come into play. But then, we are in the survival for the fittest kind of setting.
Kind of a thing.
Yeah, so why you always, like, you went to a place, you didn't thrive, you are asked, you say office politics. You go to another one, you don't thrive. Toxicity. You go to another. So are you, as the toxicity following you, there's a way you can't survive. And so something must be wrong somewhere, and you can correct if you can.
And at times, looking back or looking inside is so intrusive that then even when people are coming to me for relationship counseling, and then I get the history and you're like, with person X, person Y, person Z. Namuza, who do you think is constant K here? Like, it's me because I was with GMO, then Brayo, then Kevo. But you are the same person. So it means either the things you need to work on, or you're still doing the same things, expecting different results.
Yeah, sure.
Really good. How have you navigated corporate politics yourself?
Now it depends with the level you are at. Kuna vitu zingine ujiingize.
Okay, junior.
Junior, hapo you make friends with everyone and just make sure everyone feels comfortable in your presence. Don't be this person who talks anyhow, like you mentioning things that
commenting on everything.
Commenting on everything, you giving unsolicited advice. Let me tell you, advice is good, but if it's unsolicited, it's weird. I'm one kind of talkative person, but anytime I am in some spaces, I watch what I say, because there is someone who said you can be considered so wise until you open your mouth. And you'll prove them otherwise. Yeah. Sometimes at those junior level, it's more of a learning space than a teaching space. You could even be knowing something, and by virtue of you being still junior, let the seniors talk, and your opinion come in a subtle way that such that you like suggesting for them to take it up. You may not be running with it, suggesting, and then in a way give it let it fly in such a way that it will be picked up by the right. What if we pursue this way, but depends with how we will decide.
Like you're brilliant, but you're like, let me throw it and then let them pick it up and like with their own brilliance.
And people are different personalities, and we are not brought up in the same environments. Don't concentrate in personalities so much such that you even hate someone who would facilitate your growth just because of their personality. Work, go home, deliver.
Story
Exactly. Don't deal too much into personalities of people here and there. So and so is drunkard. So and so is doing what? No, they don't help you.
That's not part of you.
Yeah, sure.
Pombe yake isikusumbue. All right. Even as we bring this to a close, what impact do you want to live and hope to live in the Kenya tax space? And of course, now East Africa, and even in terms of youth empowerment and employment. What is this thing you're like, this is my heart for the tax space in Kenya, and even for the young people in terms of employment and career growth and trajectory?
I would say you come to the tax space and you see a lot of things. But one thing that, given a chance to influence everything, as far as taxes is concerned, I'll talk of efficiency.
Okay.
Efficiency in that you can achieve what you want within the shortest time. Now, if, for instance, I rise to spaces where I'm supposed to make systems and policies to guide the taxation space, I would say if a time is going to come where any business person sitting in their home who doesn't even know taxes, just using the systems that have been put in place, they'll remain largely compliant, less for the gray areas where you need serious legal interpretation of aspects. But these clear things like it's VAT of 16%, I am looking for a time where I don't have to burden that business person to think of how do I calculate, how do I do the ABCD. Let them just do their business and the systems in place.
It's more of like
Yes,
automated.
almost automated, and things are flowing in that manner where there is efficiency. And when we talk of efficiency, you use less resources to achieve greater results. So even in my career, I'm thinking of a time where anywhere I am, people are using less time, less resources, less everything to achieve greater results.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. If you turn your career story so far into a proverb, a Swahili proverb, what would that be?
Msafiri ni aliye bandarini.
Oh, so good. What does that mean? For those guys that dropped Kiswahili.
Msafiri ni aliye bandarini.
In English? Okay, just translate it loosely. The traveler?
The traveler is the one
at the show.
At the port.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I would say it means be ready for opportunities. Ever ready. Like if today an opportunity comes up and it's to propel me to greater heights, very ready. I'll grab it and work with it. Yeah, ever ready, ever ready.
Or like those dry cells that ever ready.
No,
those guys
I got dry cells.
So please pack your bags, enda bandarini because msafiri.
Ni aliye bandarini.
Sure. Really good. Thank you so much, Ezra, for just keeping your time and just sharing your wisdom, and hope people are learning. How can someone find you? Probably LinkedIn or something.
Yeah, LinkedIn, Ezra Kirui. I think there are only 2 Ezra Kiruis now. Nanga kwa hiyo LinkedIn. Yeah, Ezra Kirui, and the person talking about taxes is me. I actually talk a lot of taxes in LinkedIn, and also talk of some career aspects. Talk of things that will help you grow in your career. So you can follow me there, look at them, and we can interact. And I'm also in those other spaces, Facebook, Twitter, but entirely I would like our interactions to be more in LinkedIn.
Yes. Right. Yeah. So anything tax consulting, get to him. He's good at what he does. Compare registration. Usimess up, but then USG about 10 million and turnover yako hata haijafika 100k. So
but then just to mention, as long as you do taxes, these are the things that are related to it, such that somebody will come to you with something that almost close to tax and it's not tax. Useme hiyo si yangu. No, just have a hint of it. And even if you don't know, tell them, let me get back to you. Go get a hint, brace yourself. If you can do it, grab it and move with it. Sure. Take opportunities.
Thank you, Ezra, for giving us a front seat in your boss move journey, from the village to boardrooms, and story of clarity, strategy, consistency. And to you, our listeners, today's episode, hope it speaks to your ambition, your career crossroads, your leadership dreams, and your desire to make boss moves in whatever you're doing. I am Gifted Eben, And this is Boss Moves. Till next time, all the best, be the best. See you in the next video.